Welcome back, everybody, to WCS America Premier League, where we are getting ready for our fourth series of the day, Group A, which of course means that we are already going to determine who is going to be the very first player that we will fly out to Santa Monica to compete in the WCS America round of 16 for Season 3. Is it going to be HyuN for 3 appearances in a row, which would be 3 more than last year? Or are we going to have another big upset? Because so far it's definitely been a few upsets already. Is it going to be Neeb? Now, we know Neeb is good, Nate. And Neeb is that kind of guy that we're going to tell people at home that he's good. And then we know that he's good. And then we're going to watch him play. And then he's even better than we think he is.
Yeah, I mean, we've been hyping Neeb for a while.
Yep.
Neeb's a guy who's been streaming for a long time. You know, and even though he hasn't been quite as up there, if you ask the other players in the North American scene, if you ask Huck, Scarlet, they know who Neeb is, and they know he's good. This was just one of those situations where Neeb just hasn't quite yet had that big break. And his run of 16 finish in Season 1 was nice, but wasn't able to quite follow it up with the performance that we expected in Season 2. Now this, taking out Arthur, in a very nice fashion, just solid play, I think shows just a little taste of it. But we haven't seen that full fleshed out mega macro game. And against HyuN, well, you're either going to get that, or we're going to find out how good Neeb is at holding roach all-ins. So
yeah, I must say, I love how you bring it up because I actually was already going there. I must say, early today, I felt like HyuN's play in game number 1 on Overgrowth was a little impatient. Like I was a little,
yes, very impatient.
A little bit surprised by that because in general, he's a guy that takes his time. Either way, we are ready. The players are ready. Now all we have to do is make sure that the admin somehow comes back and actually fires up the game or gives us the right to start the game, as everyone wants to get this bad boy going. Should be an awesome TVZ. It's going to be the first TVZ of the season, but I have a feeling that it's not going to be the last. Even though the race distribution in WCS America is pretty solid this season, man.
WCS America has, I think, always had the best racial distribution as far as players go. We were worried it would be a little too Protoss heavy last season towards the top 8, but we still had, for round of 16, a pretty good array. I mean, Tasia, Bomber, Pult for Terran really carried. We had Revival, Violet, and HyuN, and then of course we had Pig Baby.
No, actually we were worried that it wasn't going to be Protoss heavy at all because we only.
Oh right, we were about too few Protoss.
Yeah,
right.
we had 4 Protoss in the round of 16, which obviously is not. It's 25%. It's not 33. But in the end, 2 of them made it,
all we need.
and in the end, 1 of them won. So that's all that truly matters.
That tells the story right there, Roddy.
We are ready for our 4th series of the day. It's going to be played on Kings at Young Station. Let us know #WCS what you think about the games today. Let us know what you think about Nate's hair. Let us know if you look forward to seeing Nate without hair, because I think that would be awesome. And above all, of course, can't wait to see what we will have over here, Nate, as of course the Zerg spawning in the right bottom side of the map, representing Rocket. It is going to be HyuN. I'm like trying on purpose today to call him HyuN, because I know that Todd is watching, and if I call him HyuN, he's going to be like, the rest of them does not know how to say the HyuN's name. Look at how he uses HyuN, and then he tries to make fun of me, and then I say...
He's watching, we know he's watching the broadcast, he's out there in the chat spamming capital with the rest of you. He's just trying to find ammo to fire at us when he sees us again.
That's literally what he's doing. Some people think that Todd has a lot of passion, but no, he's actually just doing researches and trying to find a way to make fun of us. That's literally how Todd spent his nights in Europe.
Yep. In the top left position, we got the blue Terran player from Fnatic Academy. It is Neeb. Neeblet.
Now, didn't he play an amazing series against... Whoa. A 13 pool over here in the right bottom side of the map for HyuN. Nate, you are a Terran expert. What is he going to accomplish with this? Or at least, what is he hoping to accomplish with this?
This is like a lowly spawning pool. You gotta remember...
Lowly?
Lowly does this.
The Belarusian Zerg play. Man, Lowly was a legend.
Man, he would do builds like this all the time. The simple fact of the matter is, a 10 pool does give you a chance to cancel a command center first if it's built on the low ground. Which, by the way, Neeb's building a command center first on the low ground. However, a 13 pool...
is not going to cut it.
No, the thing is, if we just look at how much health is already on this command center, he should be able to save it. Now, what troubles me is the position of this barracks, because you cannot easily block that off. And now I'm a little worried, because you would need to add 2... potentially with the architecture layout, 3 supply depots or something of that sort to actually block
not 3.
That can be weird because he might not be able to put it just below that command center to the right, like the barracks to the right.
You can put one here and put one here.
3? I've messed this up and lost games before because of it. I don't know.
Alright, either way, this SCV with the party hat is going to run into 6 Zerglings. He even bought a little bit of time for himself there. All small things matter, can make the difference between a 50 HP command center or a 0-1. And can make the difference between one more Marine popping out or a Marine dying. So that's good. It's only going to be 6 Zerglings, and the SCV did scout as well.
But like I said,
there's another hatchery on the way.
The command center will finish. This bunker on the low ground, I think, is a bit brave.
Yeah.
He needs to pull SCVs if he actually wants to keep it on the low ground.
He's going to pull SCVs, all right, Nate. He has like 7 or 8 of them over here on the low ground.
I mean, you want to wait for that Marine.
Yep.
SCVs and fisticuffs don't generally...
Oh,
Is he
look
not
at that
going to lose a
SCV.
single worker to this?
Did you see that SCV?
What?
It came back.
Oh my goodness, this SCV. Okay, there you go. He should at least lose a few SCVs for what he's.
So far, just
for
a
this
single
defense.
one.
2, 3, and the Marine. Oh, he's gonna lose a
back.
lot more.
Oh,
Get to the bunker.
look at it. Man, these SCVs have the fighting spirit, all right. A couple of them went in.
Oh, I still don't know. 4 workers killed. He's got double mule.
Yeah, I can dig it.
I mean, he's still Terran. He's got double mule. It's like, okay, yeah, he's going to move into his HyuNs, but he delays his reactor a little bit. This is not the start Neeb wanted, but I also think that, you know, HyuN obviously did a bit of damage to himself, deciding to open up with the 13 pool.
I think it played out pretty even, to be honest. Of course, a little bit of mining time has been lost as well, as a lot of these workers were
Oh, look at this
fighting.
Marine. He's like, oh no, there's a Zergling down there. Boom.
And let's not forget that HyuN's speed is going to be very late. Now, that doesn't really necessarily matter for HyuN, as we all know that he loves roach openings anyways in pretty much every single matchup, but especially in this one too.
Yeah.
The power of 1-1 roach is real.
Yeah, yep. You know, this is like a really small thing, I guess, but the way that Neeb has laid out his factory barracks placement allows him, if we say there was like a massive flood of speedlings, if you have the reactor as part of the wall, it's in the center, you can't rally Hellions down the ramp without lowering a depot. But in this situation, if Neeb got flooded with lings, he could build Hellions and send them both ways without risking opening his wall. I don't know if he intentionally did that.
I think he did.
But
I can see it. I mean,
it's a little play. I know Illusion was one of the first players I saw that used to do this, so that you would never have to worry about your Hellion rally getting messed up on accident.
but I mean, there's a realistic possibility as well of a lot of Zerglings and Roaches flooding your natural in this matchup when you play against HyuN on
That's very true.
on King
I mean,
Sejong.
look at this. No Zergling speed, straight to lair, Roach Warren. He's gonna Roach all in. It's gonna happen. I don't have
Or at least like
maybe I shouldn't use the terminology all in, because I know there's plenty of Zergs I play on ladder that would disagree with me on that. But you know, just a little light pressure of 1-1 Roaches and about maybe 30 of them.
Yeah, the moment when there are 28 Roaches in your natural and you lost all SCVs and they're gonna saturate that third base, saying it was a pressure attack. And you're like, no!
Yeah, that's pressure.
No, it's not!
That's pressure.
He's like, hey man, I'm 70 drones. Yeah, but 20 seconds ago you were at 48.
My Banshee's a cloaked Banshee is pressure. It doesn't just win you games half the time. Anyway, 1-1 is on the way, so this is the attack. HyuN said a couple months ago he loves this build. Neeb scans and he knows it's coming. I mean, if you're playing against HyuN and you see this, there's no reason to think he's messing with you. HyuN is gonna do this. Yeah, I don't like the armory.
I do not really see the purpose of the armory in this situation.
He wants to do a Hellbat Cloak Banshee push, but he's supply blocked, so he can't build a second Banshee. Yeah. And there's gonna be Roaches. There's already 7 Roaches on the way, which is more than enough to deal with 8 Hellbats.
He could just swing in for the kill now. Actually, the Queen is out of position. Why didn't he squeeze through the other hole?
Well, no, you can't go through there.
Really?
Apparently you can't. No, he tried it a little bit earlier.
That's really
These Hellions need to kill pretty much every drone in the main base, and even then it's still going to be really, really difficult.
He's getting a few. Oh, light him up.
That could be nice.
Yep. He's getting something.
10 drones, but there's still so many Roaches. Like, he's already gotten everything that he needs to actually build these. This Banshee is the real MVP, though. There's no overs here. This is exactly what Neeb wanted, but
and he also
Banshee
killed
back home. Dude, how many bunkers does he have? Just one?
Just one.
This isn't going to cut it. He doesn't have any Marines to put in. He's adding on factories?
Yeah.
Oh, these Roaches are going to kill Neeb. If these Roaches don't kill Neeb, then I don't know. I'm the king of England.
The king of England. Well,
you were the queen already.
In
so
that case, we'd be a couple.
I don't know. I don't know, Kev.
The king and queen of England do actually not need identification to travel.
Then I'm Princess Diana. I don't know.
Hey, too soon.
All right. Well, let's see.
Well, HyuN is actually retreating, Nate. So, Your Highness. Would you like a cup of tea?
Well, you know.
Would you like a cup of tea, honey?
You know, I don't think 6 Hellbats are gonna stop 20 Roaches in my my personal opinion, but This is one of those times where your bias gets back at you. But he's going mech. I didn't expect Neeb to go mech. I'm actually really surprised. I usually think mech is horrible, but players like MVP make it work. And I guess he's scared that Neeb would have had something. Like, all he sees are Hellbats. Maybe he thinks there's already a tank. I don't know.
He saw the Banshee, and the Banshee really did turn him off the idea.
Wow, he's so bold. He's building Thors already. It's actually really nuts. HyuN doesn't even like Mutalisks.
Yeah, but these Banshees from Neeb are starting to do some real work. And since HyuN didn't really, commit to this attack.
Yeah, these Banshees have actually, I would say, I thought that HyuN had this game, but these Banshees gave it back. But there's still a lot of roaches. Like these Hellbats still need to be really careful. Like, he still doesn't have a tank on the map. Like, he's about to have two.
Oh, these Hellbats actually getting a couple of okay shots.
Yeah,
all the roaches are very clumped up.
You know, actually, Hellbats trade even with roaches if they're just fighting 1v1, but with the roaches, you're not supposed to let the Hellbats get on top of your roaches like this. And now the Banshees come back, and this actually should be able to deal a reasonable amount of damage to finish these
even in workers, which is just a good scenario for Neeb, you know, all things considered.
Yeah.
Being only down 6 workers in this phase in the game. He's throwing in 4 more factories. That is a lot of factories for this phase in the game.
HyuN doesn't build Swarm House. I'm wondering if he's seen HyuN's. I'm really wondering if he's seen HyuN's games versus Terran that have gone mech, because HyuN is, generally speaking, and I think he's even done it once or twice, but most often he likes Roach Hydra, but he doesn't like to go for Swarm Host. It's not HyuN's style. And when you play against Roach Hydra, you don't need Starport tech beyond maybe Vikings to deal with Vipers. So he goes up to an abnormally high number of factories. 7 factories, because he knows all he needs are tanks. He doesn't need to go for Banshees or Ravens. Although, these Banshees, man, they're the real MVPs of this game, because they have just done so much.
18 kills and 8 kills.
He's going to run into these roaches. He's like, thank you. Some more kills.
Yeah, they are. There's no Overseer. There is an Overseer.
There's a Hydra. Well, if the Overseer's not here, man, Hydras actually get wrecked by Banshees.
Okay, that's 3 Hydras, but now both Banshees will fall. Rest in peace.
Man, they were worth their weight.
Yeah, that was a good investment.
Yeah.
Well, not their weight. They weighed a lot.
Well, Banshees are pretty light, man.
You think?
They have like the propeller things. I guess helicopters are also heavy. But you know, relatively speaking, they're not the heaviest.
However, if you would turn your Banshee to gold.
If you turned your Banshee to gold, it'd be pretty heavy. If you turned anything to gold, it'd be pretty heavy.
Yeah, I don't think it would take off. It's like, hey, I got a gold helicopter that doesn't fly.
And I'm like, I don't know if Banshees are exclusive to that argument, but he's breaking down these back rocks, and here we see, you know, this is the classic, you know, cliche. Mech is slow, and he's trying to abuse that slowness. And he's actually targeting this command center.
Orbital command.
Oh man, that's not supposed to happen. Ooh. Orbital command picked off, and you know what? For what should have just done a little bit of damage, he's taking a lot more heat. He needs to actually kill all of this.
He's killing it. He's just gonna, man, if he would have just repaired the orbital, this would have been a massive victory for Neeb.
Yeah, that just did not make much sense. Thankfully, he was already building a 4th command center. He can't put it in his natural because he's building one there. I don't know how I feel about that, but he's like, man, I had another command center done. You didn't have to start a new one. At least he could have started.
He's gonna move out now with his army. There is an infestation pit, but like you said,
is about 30 seconds away.
Yeah,
what this Hydra Force needs to do is pick off just a few units. All he needs to do is buy himself a man at a time. The Vipers come out, and once those Vipers are blinding cloud, there is only 1 Viking. There's 1 more on the way, and 1 Viking simply isn't going to cut it versus 1 or 2 Vipers. And look at this spread. HyuN might just overwhelm him right now.
Yep, the tanks were on siege. Now they are going to siege. Now
there's not enough roaches in this army, though. Like, these Thors are actually going to be a huge help against these Hydras.
I would love to see Neeb just back off, though.
Yeah, I agree. Neeb needs to
He's taking the fort base during all this.
Yeah, so Neeb just needs to step off. Step off.
Take a chill pill.
Exactly. And HyuN doesn't want to give him time to do that. Like I said, though, Thors, they 2-shot Hydralisks, like, by default. So they're actually, like, they absolutely obliterate them in these small engagements. But he just doesn't have, you know, the next wave. He doesn't have his reinforcements. And that allows HyuN to trade. And you could say in other matchups, a trade like this where both players lose their whole army is nice for either of them. But it's really bad for the Terran because his army just builds so much slower.
Neeb doesn't really have that much vision either over the left side of this map, man.
I'm really worried. I'm actually really worried for Neeb now because there's also Vipers, and he needs every resource he has to build tanks.
If he would have just backed off 10 seconds before that, he could have just sieged up over here on the high ground, and he could worry about his natural, and then suddenly he'd look pretty damn solid. He'd buy time, he can actually really enjoy his 7 factories over 4 base economy. Look at the amount of minerals that are left in his main, by the way. He's a Federal Reserve over here, man.
That's his Fort Knox, just in case. That's where the gold is.
That's really weird. Not very often do you see this many resources being left in the main base.
There's gonna be 3 Vipers. 3 Vipers. Each can cast 2 Blinding Clouds.
Don't you think he's going to use abducts on the expensive units?
I mean, if you Blinding Cloud, you can actually just
a
attack
couple of
move
juicy
through
tank
this.
shots over here, don't they? The Hellbats.
This is nice. This is nice. That high ground position getting used well. The Hellbats are so cheap. Like, that's not really a big focus. There's 2 Vikings out. You need 5 Vikings to 2-shot a Viper, basically. So he doesn't quite have that
A couple
yet.
of tanks are being unseized, but there's still a lot of Hellions in the mix over here as well.
And none of these units can even fight. The Hellions are going to try, but more reinforcements are coming in. And he's moving some of these tanks back. There's still another Blinding Cloud. He needs to keep these units spread out. If he can hold his planetary, though, that'd be a really big victory here.
Gonna have to repair it. Neeb's gonna have to repair it immediately with pretty much all of the SCVs. There are a couple of tanks sieged up in the bank now.
Landing. Planetary still hanging in there. 500 hit points. More mules getting called down to help mine at this base. The Hellbats are here. And Neeb, he's doing his best to hold on. I still think that HyuN has done too much damage to him, but he's not gonna lose his 4th base just yet.
No. Still a lot of roaches and hydras are working on it, and more roaches are streaming in, but eventually it seems like Neeb will stabilize over here, but not before losing a few more tanks. HyuN did a phenomenal job in picking off as many tanks as he could have possibly done. It was really unfortunate for Neeb that twice he sieged those 3 tanks all next to each other.
And the problem is there's still Vipers on the map. He doesn't have a lot of Vikings, so he can go get his energy back. Did he lose all those Vipers? He lost all but 1. Now he's getting 3 more, so he's going to have 4 Vipers for the next fight.
The only thing is, I really don't think that HyuN is expecting Neeb to have... he scouted most of the factories. He wants to be on this many factories, so maybe he would make another push and he doesn't expect the tank count to be as high as it's actually going to be. I would like to see a missile turret or 3 as well.
Yeah.
Just to
this is so rough. Like, these Hellions are going to move out. These Hellions actually need to make some plays. Try to pull the Zerg army around. If he can pull HyuN around a little bit, that'll buy him so much time. Because right now, time is really what he needs. He has a very healthy worker count, so it's not like this is one of those situations where, yeah, the Terran's behind on supply, but, you know, he's got so many mules and so much of it is army supply. That's not the case in this situation. There's a significant army supply advantage for HyuN. And if he gets just a couple more Blinding Clouds, like, these tanks are well spread out, but one of these Blinding Clouds could cover, like, maybe 2 tanks in that planetary fortress as well.
Alien's going to try to get a couple of shots up, but in general, you don't want to fight against roaches and hydras in a wide open area.
It's good, though. It is giving him a lot of time. I would love to see just two, maybe 3 more Vikings. If he goes up 2 more Vikings, he can start one-shotting the Vipers, but...
here we go once more, Nate. Blinding Clouds will go down over most of these tanks, and I think you're right.
Yeah,
I think
no
there's just
how
too
well
much
you spread your tanks, there's just too many Blinding Clouds. Like, when 4 Vipers can each put 2, it doesn't matter. Your tanks are all going to get wrecked. And that's exactly what's happening.
That looked beautiful, though.
Yeah.
A lot of Blinding Clouds going down. HyuN still at 183 supply. He's going to work on this planetary fortress once again. That has already had 17 kills, and those were not Zerglings. Those were either roaches or hydras. So this planetary fortress is working overtime, but there are roaches in the main as well, and it seems like HyuN has done it after all, and he's going to walk away with game number 1 on King's Young Station. Neeb knows it as well. GG is called. HyuN takes a 1-0 lead in the deciding series of the first day of StarCraft. Of course, we still have our last series of the day, but this is our upper bracket match. It was a game where I really felt in a certain point Neeb had a very realistic possibility of actually making something out of it. But then I think he overstayed his welcome just a tiny bit in the middle of the map. You know, we often talk about how important reinforcements are, especially when we cast ZvT, you know, the roaches and stuff. If there's one army that's hard to reinforce, it's obviously mech. Like,
yeah,
you're not going to roll slow tanks across the map by themselves one by one, because that just sucks. No one does that. So you only have a certain amount of time to be in a certain position with your mech army, and I just think he overstayed his welcome a tiny bit.
You know, the thing is, I feel in that situation, Neeb felt pressured to go for the big push. Even big, you know, quote-unquote big because of how small the army was, but he lost his natural orbital, which was really unnecessary. Mm-hmm. And if he just lifts it up, floats it a little bit away while repairing it, I'm pretty sure it survives because of how many tanks are there. But he just gets away with that, and then Neeb's like, well, I got to do something. And then he moves out, and his army gets caught, and he's like, you know, that's when the expletives come out. That's when you're really, really upset. But Neeb, I think actually staying in that game as long as he did just gives him a little bit of time to mull over it, to chew it out, because I feel like that's when the rage moment is basically passed. Because Neeb probably knows that there's no way he's going to win straight up unless HyuN just doesn't build Vipers. Then I guess, yeah, if you aim move into 8 tanks, you're going to lose your whole army up a ramp. But overgrowth for the second map, Neeb, I think this is a situation where you can bring it back. I'd be really surprised if he went mech again, though. I don't think that's going to happen.
I'd be a little bit surprised as well, especially after the new Widowmine, or the new old Widowmine. But we'll see what is going to happen. Why are you smiling, Nate? What's making you so excited already?
I don't know. I'm just thinking about, I don't know, I'm thinking of that last game a little bit.
Okay.
There's a couple of interesting things.
I almost forgot about that orbital, but that was really unnecessary. Like you said, you think even if he lifted it up, but I don't think he had to lift it up.
The thing is, Neeb set himself up so well.
And he was winning that fight.
Yeah,
he would have won that fight.
Yeah, he would have won the fight if those two armies like full clash, because Neeb had set himself up so well prior with the Banshees taking out so many drones. He killed like 24, 25 drones with his Hellion Banshee pressure. Like, it was insane, and that's just one of those. That's just one of those things that, you know, as a fellow Terran player, I look at that and I say, like, man, that orbital command, that's tough. That's tough. I'm wondering what happened that he was preoccupied to the extent that he couldn't repair it.
Yep. Either way, game number 2 is about to kick off on Overgrowth, like you said, Nate. It's going to be Neeb versus HyuN, Fnatic against Rocket. The winner of this series will qualify, and we will fly them out once more to Santa Monica, and they will be able to pick up even more WCS points, but of course you'll still be in the running for so much more. You're still in the running to stay a little longer, stay an extra week or two, and then play the round of 8, round of 4, maybe even the final, like HyuN has done that before. Either way, it's going to be a fun series. The loser of this series will have to play one more series today against Guitar Cheese with their tournament live on the line. Neeb vs Guitar Cheese, I think, would be a really exciting series. It's very hard to call. Two very strong North American talents. Perhaps not that well known yet in the European scene, but two guys that are good. We even had the pleasure of meeting Guitar Cheese just a couple of weeks ago. Well, it's like 2 months ago already.
He was at MLG, yeah.
Yeah, but also at the small little land that we went to.
Yeah, he was there too. The SoCal Esports land
in Chino. Either way, game on Overgrowth is live. We can just go ahead and jump into the game. There is a thriving scene over here in Southern California. Still a lot of very passionate StarCraft 2 players.
Yeah, a lot of passionate fans too. When we have the round of 16, any of you that are watching, if you're
cool.
if you're like, wait, there people actually go there and you live close, come. You'll meet many friends.
Yeah, I felt really bad for this dude who was traveling from Europe to Los Angeles the other week, and he just really wanted to visit the ESL studio and watch WCS America. But everyone's like, well, bro, it's gonna be hard because there is no WCS America by the time that you're in LA. And he was really disappointed. I felt kind of sad too. I was like, well, wish I could change it, but sometimes Nate can change the agenda.
No.
Anyways, of course, representing Fnatic, or the Fnatic Academy, one and only Neeb himself, also known as Alex Sunderhoft.
I don't understand why the SCVs have brims on their hats.
Yeah, what?
Like, so the other party hats don't have, like, the other party hats don't really have, like, quite the brim that the SCVs do, I feel.
Yeah, the Protoss has a little thingy.
I don't know.
And
maybe it's just more noticeable on SCVs.
Yeah. On the SCV, you mean like the top of the hat thingy, right?
On the bottom of the hat.
Oh.
Like they feel like they have a wider brim, like the bottom. When I look at a drone, like, I don't know, I guess it's there, but it just doesn't feel as pronounced. Anyway, I don't know, it's just like...
Slightly off topic there, Nate.
Slightly. It's StarCraft related. In the top right position, we have the red Zerg player from Team Rocket. It is HyuN, who just one game away, like you mentioned, from another round of 16 appearance.
Yeah, really impressive. Last year, he only made it to round of 16 once in Season 1 and Season 2. He wasn't part of WCS America. Was a little bit all over the place. But it's safe to say that this WCS season has been very successful for HyuN. Multiple deep finishes.
Does HyuN know that Neeb goes command center first on low ground like every map against Zerg, or what? Like, when has he seen Neeb actually play? We couldn't find any games of Neeb's to look at. But apparently HyuN knows to open pool first against him every game.
No, I mean, HyuN is still living in a team house in Europe, right?
Yeah.
You know, they have a couple of guys out there as well that I think, just in general, sort of function as a coach. We'll go over a couple of builds of opponents, and
I just don't know how you. I don't know what games Neeb plays to study. We were trying to find games and we couldn't.
It's funny as well because Neeb is not the player that participates in a whole lot of tournaments. In a way, Neeb is a little similar to Masa, like all. But you just don't really see them compete in a whole lot of tournaments. Once again, Neeb is going to try to throw down a bunker, which is a little ambitious. This time he did not SCV scout, by the way, Nate. This time the SCVs are not in position. Last time he only lost 4. I'm afraid that this time he might lose a few more.
Yep. All the workers are coming down. He's going to try to get us surround on these.
Okay.
Actually, not a bad setup. Like, the SCVs actually get a reasonable surround, but, oh, that Marine, he really needs that Marine to live. He does.
My God.
Okay, nice.
But still, 5 SCVs went down. That happens really quickly.
Yeah.
It's one more than
Cancels
in
the
the last
bunker.
game.
He's like, well, I guess I don't have any more Zerglings to worry about. That Marine's going to try to chase this Ling. That Zergling actually recovers some of its health from regeneration. It might kill the Marine.
Ooh.
That Marine really just stared death in the face.
He watched A Million Ways to Die in the West, but he's very quick pulling his gun. Either
We
way.
have Americanized you. Factory and
Slowly but
reactor
steady.
are on the way for Neeb. And it's just like HyuN just like he opens the game, he gets himself a little bit ahead, and it's like, okay, now let's just play normal, and then I'll build roaches and kill you.
Yeah, this 30 pool is actually working out pretty okay for him.
Yeah.
Now, 5 SCV kills is pretty
Maybe
big.
Neeb went mech because HyuN wanted to go roaches. Like, I think about it from a perspective of a player like Major, and Major against Violet could not win with his bioforces against Violet's Roach Hydra. Like, he couldn't. So he went mech, and then we had that hour-and-a-half drawn-out, super long game, and it was like, well, I guess this is one way to deal with it. But I'm wondering if Neeb has like a similar thought process. Personally, I would love to play mech versus Roach Hydra, but then you get what's it's just interesting as to whether or not he sticks with bio if HyuN opens up with roaches again this game.
We'll see. I'm also very curious to see how effective the Hellions will be on Overgrowth. As I feel on Kingston Young Station, he didn't really get what he was looking for. 10 drones sounds okay, but in that phase in the game, the Hellions were worth so much more than just the 10 drones. Because they could have slowed down the roaches, they could have, perhaps swing in a moment when the base was a little bit more exposed. I even felt if he would have gone for the natural, there's a good chance he would have got a little more than what he actually got. So we will see.
Yeah, there was definitely some additional opportunity. Whenever you lose your Hellions, it's map control, that's your ability to scout bases, and when you play Terran, those are things that you really need because you want to know when and or if those roaches are coming. But there's a lair on the way. There's another roach horn on the way, and there's 2 more evolution chambers. HyuN's just going to do what HyuN does, and that is build roaches.
I feel Stim is a lot, I would say a lot quicker last game. Obviously we didn't even have Stim, but it's going to be a relatively quick Stim over here for Neeb. It reminds me a little bit of some of the openings that Polt often shows us, Nate. Even though I do feel that Neeb's turn commands is a little bit quicker than when Polt does this opening, but in a way that it lines up.
Yeah, this is really, really difficult because these Hellions poke the front, but he doesn't see. Okay, now he scans. Now he knows. It's like, hey, Roachborn, evolution chambers. You think he's going for 1-1 Zerglings? Ha! It's HyuN.
HyuN would not go for 1-1 Zerglings. Not in this day and age of StarCraft 2. Oh, he doesn't get the second Crypto, he could put 1 Hellion in a hold position and then shoot it with his own.
Yeah, I think he wants to bait the queens out. Like, HyuN is actually doing a good job keeping his queens away from that tumor. It's like, I don't want you to use that line splash.
Double eBay going down in the main base as well, but it's way behind the second and third rack, so it's not a super greedy opening over here from Neeb, and he has plenty of map control as well. 4 more Overlords being fired up. That is a lot of free supply to work with soon, HyuN. He already has quite a few roaches, but I have the feeling that he might just fire up like 10 more.
Yep, he's going against a bio build. I think HyuN's just going to build a lot of roaches. Just a lot of roaches. I keep thinking, I'm like, do I want to say something else? No, just roaches.
Like, he could also just...
He could saturate his third, like Violet. When Violet does this build, he just saturates his third as soon as this stage happens. But now we see more roaches from HyuN.
23 roaches in total for now. He might even get a few more behind this. It's going to line up very good. Pretty sick opening over here by our Rocket Zerg. Here come these Hellions. This time, no, wrong turn. That's not where you park your car.
Yeah, well, now these Hellions are going to see the ultimate pain, and they see a lot of roaches. Neeb, what are you going to do? He's got 3 bunkers. It's not enough. He needs more. He needs Widow Mines. I actually like to build Widow Mines against this now, because with the buff, they actually really chunk out the roach's health pretty effectively.
I guess he has
He
quite
doesn't have enough Marines and Marauders to
but
fight
he has
this.
quite a bit of surface area to repair this first bunker. I think most importantly...
the roaches are going to one-shot this bunker, man.
He needs to... I think if he gets a couple of units in position immediately... Okay, I don't really understand this point, because now the SCVs are a little late to the party. A lot of SCVs will fall. The second bunker is going to fall immediately as well. He needs to keep this bunker alive, but that one is going to fall too, Nate.
Yeah, this attack is just so strong versus any regular bio-based opener. It's almost unholdable if you just play standard Terran versus Zerg. You need to make a change to your build to defend a push like this, because he might eventually kill these roaches, but there's already more coming in. There's more roaches rallied across the map, and he's already lost pretty much all the SCVs in his natural, and once he gets up into the main base, he's just going to start chewing out these units that are left here. He can kill the add-ons, kill everything else, and meanwhile, HyuN's got a 4th base about to finish up the gold.
He can just stand on top of the production. Now every single buy unit that will spawn will most likely get eaten alive immediately by these roaches. It's going to make it really hard for Neeb to somehow get enough
the 3
units
bases
out.
of HyuN. He scans, he's like, okay, yep, I'm dead. GG.
1-1 roach, Nate. Pretty strong push over here. But of course, congratulations to Rockets HyuN, which means that he will once more make the journey to Southern California, and he can continue his little epic journey that he's had so far this year in WCS, as he's of course the champion of WCS America Season 1, and he made it to the semi-finals last season, just eventually falling to Pig Baby. Yeah, great performance by HyuN. Definitely did what I think, a lot of the StarCraft 2 fans expected him to do.
Yeah, I mean,
I think 99% of the people who filled in their fantasy league properly would have probably picked HyuN to win this group.
My fantasy league team, man, you always got to pick a dark horse, right? Pig Baby was actually on my fantasy team last season.
That's right. I think you had him. I had, who did I had? I had Bomber and I had someone else.
So if I get one wild card, then that means that the 2 players in my fantasy team that should win, Tasia and Polt, maybe they'll get far, but that means that one of my underdogs has to go far, and that's either Puck or Arium.
All right.
And I believe.
Well, you're just betting them to win the group.
Well, yeah, but I'm gonna pick. You gotta stick with your team, man. You don't just give up after the first round.
That's true. Of course, congratulations to HyuN. So Nate, you're a Terran player, and all the Terran players that are watching this game at home right now, what do you really think was the key mistake of Neeb in game number 2 in Overgrowth? He scouted it, he identified it relatively early on. Did it just losing the 5 SCVs early game? Did it set him far, or did it set him back that far?
That sets him back really far. Like when you scout an attack like this coming from the Zerg player, pretty much the only way. I honestly don't really see many players hold that push because it happened in like Pro League last night, and the Terran player had a nice setup, but it just wasn't. I think even the TY had 4 or 5 bunkers, and it wasn't enough. This push comes in. At least we can see here at the beginning stage, you're right though. These SCVs having to come off the line and fight against these Zerglings really doesn't do any favors for Neeb's economy. And you could say, I went command center first though versus a fast pool. He's still going to be able to get out double mule. Yeah, it's nice, but that roach attack, I think maybe instead of having a bunker out front, you need to have 3 or 4 bunkers spread out in a line so that the roaches don't know which one to target down. But honestly, I lose to that build almost every time I play it. I think if you know that someone like HyuN's going to do it, do a bomber build. Break out a bomber build. Open up with enough Marines that roach pushes into 30 Marines, or open up with a tank. Maybe 2-3 tanks, but then you don't really get to drop. So it's tricky. It's really tricky. We
might see another player bust out that build real soon as we are getting ready for the final series of the day. It's guaranteed that we will have 1 Korean, of course that's HyuN, and 1 North American advancing to the round of 16. But is it going to be Guitar Cheese from Solaris Gaming, or is it going to be Neeb from the Fnatic Academy? We're about to find out after this next commercial break, when we will be back with our final series of the day.